What's going on, everybody? TRAE4JUSTICE back in the building, coming at you guys with more Lori Vallow Daybell. Okay, it's right there in the title, so I have no excuse for messing it up this time, but she is back in court for a hearing this time around. So this is just the hearing for them to iron out all the stuff that's going to come into the trial where her and Chad actually attempted to kill, I think it was her niece's ex-husband, for life insurance money, but she claims he was possessed, which literally just means life insurance money. I watched through the beginning part where literally nothing happened. I'll tell you everything that happened right now. So Lori filed a motion for a new trial, which the prosecution actually responded to. And this is one of the craziest motions that I've ever seen. I took notes today. Let me go ahead and tell you what she brought up. So these are the things that she brought up as to why she deserves a new one. One, jury misconduct. She thinks that one of the jury members, she thinks they knew about the case before they were ever assigned to be a juror. So that's the first one. Two, she is upset that statements from Tylee and Alex were excluded from the trial since they're unable to actually give their statements. Anything that they bring up pertaining to them is just hearsay, is what she's basically saying. Three, she believes that there was a discovery violation in terms of she wasn't able to access a hard drive or something that they apparently gave her months in advance. She only told them in April that she wasn't able to access this hard drive, so apparently that's their fault that she couldn't get into it. Four, prosecutorial misconduct, and I'm trying to just summarize it, but I think she's basically just saying that the prosecution was able to use a bunch of irrelevant evidence during the trial, which is just insane. Five, the court's lack of impartiality. So that is pertaining to the judge. She thinks the judge is biased and is working against her, even though she 1000% did this stuff, and like the evidence fully proves that she did it, but at the same time it's got to be someone else's fault, right? And that's where we get into this right now. You can tell that she's worked it out in her mind. This judge is against me, and we're about to get into that. I saw a little bit of it, fired the camera up. She mentioned it's not fair that my name is in the title of this trial, like Daybell versus Phoenix. She thinks that's unfair, so they're about to hash this out. Hopefully the judge can make it right.
Your Honor, in light of the juror misconduct or the alleged juror misconduct, I have to object to us having so much information go out about my personal information in that jury questionnaire. Do you not think that was a problem?
What personal information?
The state versus Lori Daybell.
What's the name?
You know, when you hear somebody say personal information, you're probably thinking like, oh, they put some of your social security out or something like that. But she said the fact that they put Daybell versus, or Phoenix versus Daybell on the title, that's enough to, oh God. I spend so much time away sometimes that when I get into it and hear the arguments, I'm like, how is this a thing? Okay.
Name of the case.
Yeah, but you don't put that on anyone else's questionnaire, or one other person that's ever had that questionnaire ever put out with their name on it. They just don't do it.
I do it in every trial I've done. And
Then the people are just going to Google it, and then we're going to have the same exact problem we had getting a jury for that case. We're going to have the same exact problem.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen that literally for every trial that I've ever witnessed, but okay.
Are you done? Or are you just going to keep? Okay. How do we screen for if people have heard about you if we don't include your name?
Oh my God. Perfect response. The judge is trying to just get a word in right now to explain. Yeah, we've literally done this for every trial. I think other trials do it too. I'm not sure what you're getting at. And then she begins to steamroll him in his response. Are you done? Oh my goodness. And you can tell Lori doesn't like that. She doesn't even want to respond now. She's just staring at him. Hold on. I want to go back so you can, let's hear the fullness of this silence.
Do you have a response to that?
I'm just saying, you gave them the name, and they're just going to Google it.
They're instructed not to Google it. All right. And if you'll recall, when we had all the jurors come in person, one of the first questions I asked them in the afternoon was, who has looked up this case since you filled out the questionnaire? And we had 2 or 3 people raise their hand, and those people were excused. So I have to include your name to screen out for the people that know about your case. And we released about 100 jurors last time because of their answers to that. If we don't include your name, that's 100 extra jurors we have to go through in person and ask if they know you. And in fact, that increases the risk of tainting the rest of the jury pool If we have someone stand up and say, yeah, I know about her case in Idaho where blah, 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 in front of the rest of the jurors.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I'm not really sure what she's getting at. I guess she means if they just see her name there, they're going to feel that they have to Google it. But like you said, they screen the people. Apparently, she's just neglecting that entirely, that it even happens, that they screen the people. So that's a little bit embarrassing. Like, she doesn't fully understand the process of how her own trial is going, but okay.
Yeah, I know about her case in Idaho where blah, 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 in front of the rest of the jurors. That'll burn the whole panel. We'll have to start over. So I'm going to include your name in the questionnaire. I don't think there was any other personal information or background information about you in that questionnaire other than your name. So was there any other issues you had with the questionnaire?
Oh boy.
No, Your Honor.
So the schedule will be, we'll meet 1 p.m. to go over those answers.
She threw the glasses down.
On the 29th. On the 30th, we'll meet at 10. We'll have walk-in jurors that morning that will fill out the questionnaire. And then the people that survive are screening on the 29th, and those that survive the morning of the 30th will come in the afternoon of the 30th. This will be back in the courtroom we were in last time, 5D of the South Court Tower. Again, I expect to seat that jury at some point that afternoon. And then we'll plan on going Monday through Thursday, June 2nd to June 5th. Then June 9th to June 13th, and if need be, June 23rd.
Your Honor?
Yes.
Oh boy.
I have to ask that you would recuse yourself from the obvious personal bias that you have against me and send us to master calendar for this scheduling of a trial.
Oh boy, here we go. As soon as she looked to the left, it was like, okay, that's the tell. She's going to fully unleash her wrath on this judge here. Let's hear her argument.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I have to ask that you would recuse yourself from the obvious personal bias that you have against me and send us to master calendar for this scheduling of a trial.
And what personal bias is that?
A lot, obviously, the personal bias that you're showing right now and that you've shown on the FTR several times during the trial.
Okay, well, I don't have any personal bias, all right? I've over-accommodated you on when you have to disclose things. In fact, your expert should be summarily precluded today, and I haven't done that, all right? So
You denied every single one of my motions since for a year and a half that I've been here. Every single one of my motions has been denied. And have any of those motions...
Sorry, I held down the space bar because I was waiting to pause, but let me go back a little bit. She's just saying stuff because he definitely granted some of her motions. I mean, before I turned on the camera, he granted one motion. I can't exactly remember what it was. It was pertaining to like one of the experts she wanted to bring up, and he said, you know what, I'll grant it, but he put some kind of like stipulation on. So he's granting things literally minutes before, and she's just... Nope, you're not granting anything. Close to the end, she was making some really weird requests. She was requesting certain people come up that don't have really any evidence to provide. And he would ask her, what can they tell us that is relevant to this case? And then she just got angry about the fact that she has to tell the prosecutors like, hey, I shouldn't tell them what I'm going to do. Like, I'm not going to tell you why they're relevant because then they can prepare for it. A lot of people that represent themselves, they do that. Like, they're caught off guard by the fact that they have to tell the prosecutors what evidence they're going to use, what their argument is. Ever since that point, it's just downhill from here. This is where we are. So apparently he needs to recuse himself, right?
In fact, your expert should be summarily precluded today, and I haven't done that.
Right.
All right? So
You denied every single one of my motions since for a year and a half that I've been here. Every single one of my motions has been denied. And have any of those motions not had merit? You've denied every single motion.
I think I was here this morning about 15 minutes ago when I granted your motion to meet with your attorneys over the lunch hour. I have granted other motions.
That's the one.
Okay.
That's the first motion that you've ever granted
Well,
in my behalf.
file motions that have a legal basis, and I might grant them.
So you're saying none of my motions have had merit?
Not not many.
The judge is not really holding back right now, is he? I mean, he's not saying anything too crazy, but he's just telling her the outright truth. Not many of the things you've presented to me have had any merit whatsoever. So, but it's just funny to see the frustration of the fact that he's willing to just say, yeah, the stuff you're saying, it has no merit. And she's getting really, really mad from it.
And none of the motions that my first team, you denied every one of my first team's motions. You denied every one of my second team's motions. And now you denied every one of my motions until today.
I haven't denied every one of your motions.
Every single one of their motions was denied. Every single one of the second team's motions were denied, and all mine. So you didn't come into this with any bias against me in the first place?
Again, file a motion that has legal merit. Okay.
And none of my attorneys ever filed a motion with any legal merit?
They filed a motion on your behalf, the first team, to preclude media coverage, and I issued my ruling according to the law. All right. They filed a motion to have you dressed out, not in jail clothes during hearings like this. Okay. That was not based in law. I denied that motion. So I've ruled on the motions as required by law.
Without any kind of a conclusion of law in them, just denied, 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 denied. Does that not show a bias and a prejudice against one single person?
She's just saying, I don't like the end result, and there's no basis in law, which literally just means I don't like the end result. He just explained, no, I made those decisions based on the law, and then her rebuttal is just, no, you didn't. Now she's just waiting for him to go, you're right. Gonna take myself off this case now. And the crazy part is, this is the judge that will make the decision for her next trial. Now, I know it probably doesn't mean much to her because she's going to spend life in prison. She already has life. But why are you choosing to go after the judge that will ultimately decide if you're guilty or not? Like, I don't think this is a good route to take, but...
All right. Are you done?
Are you not going to recuse yourself?
No, I'm denying your motion. Anything else? All right, I was handed a
Jeez.
motion to suppress all evidence pertaining to Jeep Wrangler.
I have not received that.
Did you probably got a copy of it today or not?
No.
Oh, do we need to make copies?
I just wasn't sure if you wanted to see them beforehand.
All right, go ahead and make copies for the state. I also have a motion to dismiss for non-preservation of crucial evidence. So make a copy. I guess the state can file their response to those. All right. Anything else for today from the state's perspective?
No, Your Honor.
From the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll see everyone on the 29th at 1 p.m.
Yeah, from the tone of that response, she did not like how this little hearing ended. Lord wants the judge to recuse himself. I can't think back to a single time during the last trial where I thought, yeah, he's doing some stuff here that's kind of fishy. Why would he do that against Lori? That makes no sense at all whatsoever. But it seemed like he handled it as fairly as he possibly could. And here's a theory that I just came up with. I think maybe she was hoping that he would argue with her, like have an exchange with her in that moment, and then maybe she could use that to say, see, clearly he doesn't like me and there's some kind of bias or something like that. But I don't know, that's just my theory. Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and thank you so much for letting me know that this happened, because once again I am late to catching this. But thank you all so much. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you did something good for somebody today. Hope somebody did something good for you, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.